how do you deal with stuff like this? That's a really good question. There were times in the early days of colitis when I used to say the demons would come and get me because I knew what was going to happen the very next day. And what was going to happen? I was going to wake up. I was going to try to get ready for work. I was going to go to the bathroom probably about 8 to 10 times. I'd be in a lot of pain. I'd probably skip breakfast. I'd probably have to barge in on my roommates in the bathroom at times. And then I would go to work. And that was my morning. You could set a watch to it. And there was one point where I felt like I had to at least let my roommates know what was going on. One of my roommates is John. He's over there right now. John, you could stand up. John's been a great guy for me this whole time. Thank you, man. And I asked John to talk to his dad, who's an internist. And he did. And John's father recommended exactly what I should do. I have to go get my back door checked out. I won't use any more graphic terms than that. And I thought, oh joy, my one-way street's about to become a two-way street. And sensing my apprehension and everything, John and my other roommate Jay, who's not here tonight as he lives in California, we came up with some very colorful words for what the doctor was going to have to do to me. And I laughed with them the whole time because for those brief moments where the tension is taken away from you, you're so thankful for them. But then, you know, when the laughing dies down and we all go back to our beds, the demons would come and get me, and they would wreak havoc on me. So let me read a couple sections of the book about that and give you guys some insight as to what was going on. Because I definitely wanted to share at least some part of the book with folks tonight. A new wave of depression came over me. More than anything in the world, I did not want to have a rectal exam. That area of my body was off limits to everyone, including me. The thought of it now being examined by a stranger made my head spin. I even began to have second thoughts about my mystery illness entirely, thinking that maybe I had overinflated the severity of the situation. The truth I had desperately tried to avoid was that I was already 6 months into going to the bathroom 8 to 10 times daily, with blood now accompanying every bowel movement. I had to see a doctor, but first had to find the courage to endure the examination. While trying to find the courage, I lost more weight from not wanting to eat anything at all. I felt lethargic most of the time and had no desire to go to work, or the gym, or associate with friends. My life had been reduced to staying at home and shutting out the rest of the world. Going to bed at night was the worst. It was when, as I used to say, the demons came and got me. They were the product of my all-consuming anxiety. I closed my eyes to try to fall asleep quickly, but never could. My brain would spin chaotically into a million directions, all filled with anguish over what could possibly be wrong with me and the test I'd have to endure. And most of all, anguish over what the bathroom situation would be the next morning. For about 6 weeks prior to the dreaded doctor's appointment, my morning routine was as I said. And it was at the end of those 6 weeks that I finally decided I couldn't take it anymore and finally went to see a doctor. Heavy stuff. But in times like that, thank God I had roommates like John and Jay, and those brief moments of an alleviation of your burden, because it's sometimes those brief moments that can help get you through the day. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm not the only one that has gone through some tough times, though. So I want to sort of do a little experiment right now. So through a show of hands, how many people out there have sort of felt really down at some point? That they felt that they hit rock bottom and couldn't take it? How many people? A lot, right? How many people out there think that they've had it just as bad as I have? Let me tell you something, folks. You severely underestimate how miserable you are. Severely. I'm going to give you an example as to why I say that. And I'm going to use my friend Brian. Brian, are you around? Can you stand up? Brian, he knows what's coming. My brother of surgery. When you hit rock bottom, folks, you hit rock bottom, right? My friend Brian had his appendix taken out one time. That's why we are brothers in surgery, right? Right. I'm there for you, brother. Um, there is not a doctor on the planet that would equate an appendix removal with a liver transplant and put them on the same plane. But let me put it to you this way. Brian's in the hospital, his lung collapses. Brian can't breathe. Nobody knew what happened with Brian until 100 years after it happened. For different reasons, I don't really know. And if during that time, Brian hits rock bottom, then guess what, folks? That appendix removal is the exact same as a liver transplant when I hit rock bottom. And it's the same for every single one of us out here when we hit rock bottom. Because my bottom is no lower than yours. When you hit bottom, the bottom is the bottom is the bottom. And I don't care what it took to get you there. I'm more concerned about let's get you out of there. So Brian, brother in surgery, if you're ever at rock bottom, give me a call, man. But it better be for more than an appendix removal next time. Some of the challenge, you take value in this stuff, though. As I said, you find an appreciation for life, how much people mean to you. And if you've never been to the bottom, chances are you probably will, and that's unfortunate, but that is life. And once you do get to the bottom, hopefully you'll have as much love and support that I get on a regular basis. And if it's any of you, you know that you'll get it from me. And chances are you have a great support system of your own. But it's incredibly important for me to let you guys know there's tough times ahead for all of us, but we're all there for each other. And that's important because that's one of the ways that's going to get you out of the bottom. So let's talk about how do you really get out from the bottom? Because I think that's what people really want to know when they say, you know, you've been through so much, how do you do it? I have found different ways to do it, but the most important thing in my book is you have to shut everybody else out. You have to focus on you more intently than you've ever focused on anything in your life. And oftentimes we don't do that. Oftentimes we're out there trying to do for other people even when we ourselves are not whole. And I can't stress enough that when those times happen, when you are not whole, truly you really can't give the best of yourself. So I'm an advocate for take care of yourself. Take care of yourself better than you've ever taken care of anyone before in your life. Start there. And chances are, in time, your bottom is going to become like an elevator. And it's going to start bringing you up. And as you do that, you're going to eventually get back to level ground. And when you do, you're going to be filled with so much faith, hope, strength, courage. Let it seep from you at that point into the people that need it. Because you'll be whole again. But I can't stress enough, focus on yourselves, folks. Let the other people who are out there who love and care for you do what they do best. Love and care for you. Because you need these people. And there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing, you don't have to be ashamed to admit it. I know my dad would probably slap me and say, man up. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stick it to the man.